Hi, and welcome along to AFTV News Daily, the early edition. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Happy Bank Holiday Monday. If you're here in the UK, is actually a day of holiday for everybody. Everybody's chilling out, apart from me. Still got to do the show, but it's all good. Great to be spending some time with you guys this morning. And let's get straight into all the action that's been going on. Of course, more Bundesliga games yesterday. The Bundesliga has really been in full flow. The second weekend of it, as we know, no fans, but football. And RB Leipzig yesterday on fire, winning by 5-0 over Mainz. And it was a hat-trick in the game by a guy that a lot of clubs are looking at the moment. And many people say we should be looking at as well, and that is Timo Werner. Scored a hat-trick in the game. He's truly been one of the outstanding players in Europe this season. And yeah, Werner, value going up. Werner, Kai Havertz, all these guys, the more they're playing it week in, week out at the moment over there in the Bundesliga, the more the price of these guys goes up. What about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang? Well, yesterday he was busy playing in his debut in the virtual GP. He actually finished in 16th place, so it wasn't the greatest of competitions for him. Not he's normally used to being at the top, but not in that. That was won by George Russell, the Formula One driver who drives for Williams. God, I've met a nice guy actually. He won it. Aubameyang came down in 16th place. But a bit of fun for Aubameyang, and probably took his mind off of all the transfer rumours that to continue to circulate around him, including the PSG rumours emerging yet again yesterday that he could be on his way to PSG for around about 38 million euros. It goes on and on and on, and will continue until he either signs a new deal, as Claude said he's going to do, or he moves on in the summer. Hopefully it will be the one of him signing a new deal. But if, say, we did lose Aubameyang, what about this as an alternative? And that is Milik, who plays for Napoli. I'm not going to pronounce his first name. I think it's Arkadiusz Milik. But Milik, a very good player, previously at Ajax, moved to Napoli, and it's done pretty well. 26 now, valued at around 50 million euros, so he wouldn't be cheap. But Napoli is said to be willing to sell him. They're about to sign Dries Mertens onto a new deal, and they're said to be willing to possibly sell Milik. He's got a decent goal-scoring record. In the 2018-19 season, he scored 20 goals, and has already scored 20 goals in 22 games this season. Has been suffering a lot from injuries in recent times. I mean, he's already missed 9 games this season, and has been starting to get a bit of a reputation of being a little bit too injury prone. But let's just say Aubameyang did go. Would somebody like Milik be a good alternative? As I said, Polish international, very good player, different type of player to Aubameyang, but a guy that could lead the line. Would he be a good alternative to Aubameyang? I would love to hear from you guys about Milik today. He's a good striker. Still wouldn't put him in the same grade as an Aubameyang, but he is a good striker. But look at the sort of money they're looking for him. I know he's younger, 26, but 50 million euros is their valuation on him. Okay, that might come down a bit because of the current circumstances, but still a lot of money. Adam Lallana of Liverpool being linked with Arsenal today. Lallana's available to leave. Well, he's able to leave Liverpool at the end of this season. He can leave on a free. He's 32 now, which is hard to think because when I saw his age, I was like, I didn't realize he was that old. He doesn't look that old. And I don't know. He, again, another player has had a lot of injuries. Very talented player. Never really seemed to have really, you know, made that first team place his own at Liverpool. As I said, a lot of injuries, a lot of competition there as well. but he's available on a free transfer this summer. Liverpool do actually have an option to extend that deal, but at the moment it's not looking like they're going to do so. And Arsenal, Everton said to be two teams that are interested in his signature. 32, it'd be a stopgap if we did get a Lallana. For me, that's not what we need right now either. But Coutinho would be a decent signing for me. I've said right from the start of the window that somebody like a Coutinho, who's that sort of midfield player, can pop up on the edge of the box and bang a goal in, is something that we lack at Arsenal. He's a very talented player, and he is, as we know, available this summer. Barcelona, who paid a hell of a lot of money for him from Liverpool. It hasn't worked out. He's been on loan at Bayern Munich. Hasn't really quite worked out there either, and they're not going to be extending the loan deal at the end of this season. Coutinho is 27 now. Now, Le 10 Sport in France reporting that Arsenal have begun talks with his agent, Kia Joorabchian, which is, I'm not sure where they got this information from, because last week Kia Joorabchian was talking about Coutinho on a radio show and said that nobody has actually spoken to him yet about his client. But as I said, Le 10 Sport today claiming that Arsenal have begun talks with Joorabchian. And now Kia Joorabchian is very close with Raul Sanelli, looks after, you know, Mkhitaryan as well. And Arsenal would definitely be an agent that Arsenal will do business with. So it could be that, you know, Arsenal may have talks about Coutinho. The report talks about how Arteta's a big admirer of his and would love to get him in. I don't know. It's still going to be a lot of wages to try and get that one over the line, even if it is a loan deal. I couldn't see that as a permanent deal at all. I'll be shocked if it was a permanent deal. Could see it as a possible loan deal, but it's how big Arsenal going to be willing to go on paying the wages. So let's keep a lookout to see how that one gets on. But Le 10 going big with that one today. We're also linked with this youngster. His name is Gelson Fernandez. He plays for Sporting Lisbon over there in Portugal, and he's a winger, plays predominantly on the left-hand side, and he's only 17, said to be a really hot talent coming out of Sporting. He's got a current contract that runs until 2022. Sporting would like to extend that, and as a matter of fact, there's talk that they'd like to insert a 100 million euro release clause to this contract. Again, his agent is Kia Joorabchian, and looks like any of Kia's clients right now we are getting linked to because of his close links with Arsenal. So we're getting linked to literally everybody that's one of his clients at the moment. But yeah, he's a young talent, left winger though, 17. Don't we already have Saka? Already, you can do that. Martinelli, you can do that. I know sometimes they say, you know, you can't let talents go when they emerge. You've got to jump on them quick and you've got to bring them in. But I don't know. I'm not too sure about this one. I don't know what sort of money it would cost. If it was a cheap deal, maybe, but not, again, what Arsenal need right now. We do have our own talents in those areas, and I'm not sure if that is what would be required right now. But I don't know what you guys think. Maybe you've seen him play and you think he's so good we have to get him. Let's get into some of your comments this Monday morning. Ankit says Coutinho will cost more than 25 million on a loan fee, plus wages exceeding 250k. We can't handle Ozil's wages, let alone Coutinho. Getting him on a permanent deal is out of the question. Well, who knows what the loan deal would be? Loan deals are constructed in many different ways. It can be that Arsenal would pay half of his wages. You know, I think Barcelona at the moment, they're in such a bad situation with the amount of players they've got on inflated wages that they have to come up with ways to get them off the wage bill, or even take some of that wage strain off of themselves They know they're not going to be able to recoup back the ridiculous money they pay for Coutinho. So they might have to work with the teams that they do deals with to get him off the bill. Tyler says, do you think we could sell Laka for enough to get Ousmane Dembele, because Barca have lowered their price to 37 million? Then we can play Aubameyang down the middle. Yet again, another player, again, that they bought for ridiculous amounts of money that they're now stuck with, or they're going to have to take a mega hit on. I don't personally think, again, we need Ousmane Dembele. You know, I think a couple of seasons ago, yes, it would have been a great signing, but not needed right now. In my books, we've got enough players out wide who can do the similar sort of job. Brad James Green says, we can sell Deadwood to fund the Coutinho wages. We still have he still has good 3 to 4 years in him, and then sell Ozil and buy. Aslan said, you guys should stop talking about transfers because the club owners won't spend. We must start to scratch and develop our own academy players. Well, come on, we can talk about transfers because it's being talked about out there right there. I remember people saying this to me last year, you know, when I was over in America, when we was in the Colorado, right at the start of that tour, and in Denver, and a lot of people saying, Robbie, why are you even talking about transfers? We're not going to sign anyone. Well, remember, that was right at the start of the window. There's a lot of doom and gloom. We signed Tierney, we signed Pepe, we signed Luis. You know, we made quite a lot of signings, right? So, you know, we bought in Ceballos on loan. So, and when you think about it, last summer, you know, I was quite excited about the signings we've made. The only thing I kept thinking to myself, remember we bought Saliba as well, that was another one. The only thing I kept thinking to myself was, why have we not really gone in and bought a centre-back, or why have we bought a centre-back and sent him back on loan? We need a centre-back now. But apart from that, they've made a lot of signings, you know, in comparison to what we normally see Arsenal do. So I think we can talk about transfers, although transfers, let's remember, they won't start until the season's finished. Sean Turner says, you're still paying for Pepe. You ain't signing any top player in this climate, especially after your current squad have been made to take a pay cut. Well, you work, Arsenal, you know, Sean. Listen, somebody like Coutinho, it would be a loan deal, or Arsenal have already said loan deals and stuff like that. And remember, Ceballos, who we had on loan, looks like he'll probably go back to Real Madrid, and we may not take him again on loan for next season. So that those wages there are freed up to maybe go and get somebody else on loan. And I'm sure when they've done that deal with the players for the pay cut, they would have incorporated into that the fact that they've still got to buy players. So I think we'll still do business, but there will be a lot of loan and swap deals. You are right. We won't sign outright a mega player this summer. So very hard for any team to do that, to be fair. That's why I think the loan deals is going to be quite significant for a lot of clubs, not just Arsenal. Jos Monk says, I prefer Cocu over Coutinho, younger, cheaper, and a lower wage. Cocu, of course, a Feyenoord. Ishmeet says, Don Robbie, Coutinho is a superstar. I would prefer him because he's a Premier League proven, but also I like Kai Havertz. I think everybody's liking Kai Havertz right now. His prices are shot through the roof. Daniel says, why sell Aubameyang and buy Milik for 50 million? Doesn't make sense, Robbie. I think we should get Coutinho. Remember, he was class. He just needs a boost of confidence. That's true. His confidence is low. Has had a tough time of things. His dream move hasn't worked out. Maybe he could come to a club like Arsenal and they could restore that. It wouldn't be, to me, beyond the realms of possibility seeing a Coutinho come in on a loan move to Arsenal. It wouldn't shock me. How did it, you know, the wages issue would be a big issue, but it wouldn't shock me. Quan Kenny says, Robbie, love from Malaysia. Big up everybody in Malaysia. He says, who's the best player in the history of Arsenal? If only one, who will it be? I always go for Thierry Henry as mine. Bazim, the Dub King fan forever, says, hi, the Dub King. Love from the Sultan of Oman, Middle East. Bring on again Cloud and love his source, in which I don't know what's that. Please shout out my friend from India, Captain Aaron Rigo. Not too sure if I got the whole thing right there, but listen, big up, and thanks for watching. David Orchard says, we won't sell Ozil, no one will buy him. I think with the Ozil thing, we know we're not going to be able to sell him. We know we're not going to be able to get rid of Mesut Ozil this summer. It's probably going to be next summer when he leaves on a free, but we should still start preparing from now. Amar says Coutinho would be a solid addition even if we got him on loan. Yes, it hasn't worked out for him elsewhere, but he's a proven Premier League. He's Premier League proven. He's 27. No better time for him. He could be a vital game changer. What I like about him, as I always say, is that he scores goals. That's something that we lack. Our midfield this season, the goal scoring from the midfield has been so poor. Ozil sort of dried up scoring goals. I'd expect somebody of Mesut Ozil's talent to be weighing in with at least 10 goals a season from midfield. And I think he could. Sometimes he gets himself into some amazing positions, and instead of banging it for goal, he tries to lay it off for someone else. He should be weighing in with 10 goals a season. And then you look around the rest of the midfield, Ceballos doesn't score enough goals. Good player, but doesn't score. Torreira, the odd goal, but I suppose that's not really his game. But he doesn't really score goals. Xhaka doesn't score goals. Guendouzi doesn't score goals. There's not enough goals in that midfield era. We need goals from there. Somebody in that area needs to chip in with, like, say, 10 goals. And it just doesn't happen. Take Me Back says, good morning, Robbie. What do you think about Coutinho's injury record? Does that worry you? Yes. But he is 27, and it's a good age. I don't think he's super duper injury prone. He's a quality player, and we want quality in the team. Abe says, I think Milik is more of a Lacazette replacement than Aubameyang. Good point. Milik can also give us aerial and physical threat in the box, which we've been lacking since the departure of Giroud. So some good points there. Milik is a physical presence, definitely. I think I've done that one already. George Chapman says, Robbie, Barca are broke, and that's why they're selling the naming rights for next season, and it might be time to buy from them. Barcelona, Real Madrid, someone else comes, they're in a bad position. They've got players on ridiculous work. Gareth Bale's on about, what was it, like 500k a week. Gareth Bale, he hardly plays. Always injured. They're desperate to get rid of him, but there's no one. That's the thing. When you get a player on that amount of money, they ain't going nowhere. Why would they? They'd be crazy to leave off that wages until their contract runs out. So, it's a crazy situation at the moment because, some of these really big clubs, like your Barcelonas, have got a lot of players, like they said, Ousmane Dembele, like Coutinho's and that they're desperate to get rid of, desperate to sell, but they're going to have to take huge hits profit-wise on them. Remember, sometimes some of these players, they ain't even finished paying for them yet because they've been buying them in installments. So, no, I really think the time is right, but the problem is, are we going to spend that money? That is the thing, as one guy mentioned earlier. Dorian says, hey, Robbie, I think Milik could be a good player for us if Lacazette was to leave the club. More and more of you sort of seeing him more as a replacement for Lacazette rather than an Aubameyang replacement. George Ortiz says, we aren't going to spend close to 550k per week on one position. It's a nonsense story. I wouldn't get worked up about it. What's 550k a week for who? You know, that wouldn't be paying that for Coutinho. You know that. No chance. Kyle B says, would love to see Coutinho trademark top corner curling finishes at the Emirates. Trust me too. I like it. I like midfield players that can bang in goals as well from the edge of the box and stuff like that. Not just assists. That's one part of your job, but you got, you know, an attacking midfielder needs to be, for me, a top one needs to be posting double figures on the board in goals as well. Is it Andre Lisi says, hi Robbie, Liverpool fan here. Coutinho was my favourite player before he left. He was excellent at Liverpool. Hasn't worked out. I'm surprised it hasn't worked out for him at Barcelona, but then Barcelona, a lot of times they just stockpile the best players and without really having a clear plan of how that he fits in. I mean, they already had Messi. Did they need Coutinho, who more or less is plays in a similar position, to get the best out of him? And hence why, you know, it's not worked. Jay always says Smith Rowe will be perfect attacking midfielder to develop this season. Could see him coming back. It's going to be really interesting to see what Arsenal do with him. Pushkar says, what do you reckon if we sell the big guns, buy a superstar or 2 or 3 solid players? Well, we haven't got a lot to sell. Aubameyang, Torreira, they're the assets. Really that we'd be able to sell and make it, and both of them, I don't want us to sell either of them, to be fair. Winfried Tom says, most underrated Arsenal legend, in your opinion? Legend? There's a lot of underrated legends. Freddie Ljungberg was very, very underrated. It goes under the radar a bit when they talk about great players because he was a real unsung hero. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, people used to big him up, but he's never talked about on the same level as, say, Perez and those guys, but he was an integral part of Arsenal doing well. I think Gilberto Silva was an unsung hero for Arsenal as well, and very underrated because he did all the dirty work. I keep referring back to that Michael Jordan, The Last Dance that I've been watching. You always need that sort of player that does the dirty work. And this is what I tell you, this is what drives me mad over the last few years with Arsenal. I'll be like, why have we not gone out there and just got that holding midfielder that just does the dirty work and allows people like Ozil to just get up there and play? And if you watch that Last Dance, that was Dennis Rodman, wasn't it? They bought him in basically. They saw what he did at the Detroit Pistons. He was that sort of mean, horrible, nasty player that you needed out there, but a real team player, right? That's what Gilberto Silva was at Arsenal. He was just like, worked his socks off, won the ball back, broke up play, did all the horrible stuff, and then just laid it off to the other players that did the damage. And he did that year in, year out. And he'd go unnoticed unless he became injured. And then you'd be like, what? Where's Gilberto? Jesus, man, we're exposed in midfield. So, yeah, definitely Gilberto Silva, most underrated, 100%. Josmonk says, Robbie, would you prefer Coutinho on a loan or a permanent transfer? Well, you'd always prefer a player on a permanent transfer, but even a loan would be fine. A loan would suit Arsenal fine because we just ain't got the money to buy him on a permanent transfer. You're talking about 60 to 70 million pounds. We ain't got that. But a loan for a season, let's see what you can do. Be brilliant. Brilliant. Icebank says, Robbie, sell Laka, buy Coutinho, offer high wages to Aubameyang so he stays. So we have a front three of Pepe, Aubameyang, Coutinho, with Aubameyang as a centre forward. It's not rocket science. No, it's expensive science. Great shout here. Manuel says Andres Limpar, most underrated player. He was, but I don't know. I think Limpar did get a lot of ratings at Arsenal. Gilberto Silva was one of them players. He went under the radar, and him himself as well. Such a quiet guy. He's just under the radar, but such an important player. And I'm telling you, that's what Arsenal miss and have missed for a long time. A guy like Gilberto Silva, those sort of guys in the midfield, you know, I mean, as I said, they don't get all the ratings. It's a bit like you see with Henderson at the moment at Liverpool. You need that guy who's just relentless, dirty work, doesn't care if he gets the plaudits. He's just such a team player and mops up for all of the really skillful, exciting players to go forward and do their damage. You need that in every team. Dale says, who do you think is the most exciting Arsenal player at the moment? I think I'd go for Martinelli, you know. He is so exciting. You know, every time you want to see him play, don't you? You do. That's why it gets on our nerves a bit when he's not playing, because he's an exciting talent. You just want him to get the ball, you know. So you want to see him play, and I think Martinelli is such an exciting player. You pay your money to see those guys playing, for me. Marcin Liart says, playing Pepe as an attacking midfielder is the answer, Robbie. More like a De Bruyne, positioning on the right side. He can wiggle a few defenders and find a crucial pass. I believe in him. Possible position for him, playing him more centrally. That is possible. Are we wasting him out on the wing? Maybe something worth trying. Definitely. Lucas says, hey, Robbie, Arsenal should go for Joachim Mael for 5 million, Harry Suter for 2 million, Alex Kral for 9 million, Toten spent 16 million. 3 top talents brought in and wouldn't affect the wage bill much. And Lucas there is doing some proper scouting. You need to, you know, get that information into Arsenal scouts right now. Ashtatush Kumar says, hello, Robbie. I think the Emirates is a curse. We always collapse at crucial times of the season. Well, certainly, you ain't won a league there. I mean, no leagues there yet. Ben Antonio says, hi, Robbie. Who's the best talent you've seen come through the Arsenal Academy? I think you'd have to say Fabregas, because Fabregas did really come through our academy. You know, I mean, even though he came over from Barcelona, but he came through the academy, and what he went on to achieve from coming through that academy, even though some of it wasn't at Arsenal, I think you've got to say, probably one of the most talented players to come through that academy. Jack Wilshere had the potential to do that as well, but his injuries have just crushed him, really. But yeah, Fabregas. I'm trying to think who else in recent times, but definitely Fabregas, one of those homegrown talents who came through the academy and was exceptional. Peace Love says, with a super chat, thank you very much. He says, Stan Kroenke had a winner in Masai Ujiri and managed to let him go. Masai went on to win the NBA championships with the Toronto Raptors last year and build a successful organization. No desire to win. Yeah, it's repeating the story about his winning mentality. I'm hoping Kroenke's watching that documentary on Michael Jordan. He should know all about that story anyway. Adnan says, hello, Don. Would you be happy if the Saudis bought Arsenal? Much love from Saudi Arabia. Please come. Why they buy Newcastle, man? Buy Arsenal. That's the thing, man. You know what? Imagine with that sort of investment. Wouldn't it be a beautiful thing to be linked with players and know that you know, it'd be like, Arsenal have been linked with Kai Havertz and nobody's laughing. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I reckon that he'd fit there. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? Apart from at the moment, Arsenal linked with Timo Werner. Arsenal. That's what happens at the moment. You know? Adam Walker says, hey, Robbie, I'm glad you got your YouTube chat working again after last night. I don't know what happened last night. We had the Q&A and we couldn't get no chat coming through YouTube for some reason. I don't know what happened. It just glitched out. We did get some great response from Facebook, loads of people off of Twitch as well, so that was a real positive. But yeah, I don't know what happened to YouTube last night. It does play up like that sometimes, but yeah, fortunately we're back in full flow today. Tanmay says, I think we should go for Stefan Posch from Hoffenheim. He would be perfect partner for Saliba. I like that. I like it today. I like it. The scouts are out. I like it. Husdy says, dear Robbie, I know you rate Coutinho, but we need a midfielder who scores more than 10 goals a season. But Coutinho has done it only once in his career, 13 goals in 2016-17, next highest 8 goals. Still, well, how many of what have our midfielders scored this season? You know, so get him back in the Premier League, get him in the right position, and I think he will definitely score goals. And I want a goal-scoring midfielder. You know, you're looking at that guy Kai Havertz. Look at the amount of goals he's scoring. You know, it's needed. Going to do the last couple here. This one says, "Hello, Robbie. Eid Mubarak to you as well, mate." And he said, "If we keep all our young talent, we can build a team around them, and we will be unstoppable. All players hungry to win, and that's going to be crucial." Yeah, definitely. Hunger is what I'm hoping Mikel Arteta is going to bring back to that dressing room. And let me get one more. Guna Gamer TV says, "Hi, Robbie. Coutinho deal is doable, at the very least loan. Arsenal are not stupid. They know they need to pull something out of the bag. Arteta can help his confidence." That's a good shout, you know. You know, that's a good shout, because they're going to need to, I'm sure they're going to want to make for Mikel Arteta one big marquee signing or loan or whatever it is this summer. They're going to have to give him something. They're not going to be able to just say, right, continue on with what you got. He's a new manager, and they're going to have to pull something out for him. Maybe continue on loan. Could be a good one. Last one here. TK says, "Hi, Robbie. You made my day when you read my comment the last time. Told my family, and we were all gassed. Big ups." He says, "About Coutinho, I would love at Arsenal, but Ozil needs to go first. And if it's Ozil to go first, that wouldn't happen, of course, until the end of next season when his contract runs out." Listen, thanks for watching the show today. Unbelievable amount of you watching. Really, really grateful for that. We are back tonight at 8 o'clock. We should have Sophie Rose from the Chelsea channel on tonight. You guys have been asking me to get Sophie on. I've been trying to get her on. Finally managed to get hold of her, and hopefully we've got Sophie on tonight. So look out for that. And also don't forget, coming up this week, we've also got a show where I've got some of you guys on. Remember when I put it out there and said, want to get some of you guys involved in the show? We're going to be doing the first round of that on Tuesday, where we've got some of you guys live on the show, and there's been such an incredible response to that I'm going to do it a few times so that we can get a few of you guys involved. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back later on.